Hey there, geometry students. Did you know that in algebra, anytime you can do something, you can also undo it? So kind of like whenever if you think about it, take a square of something, you could take the square root to undo it. If you add, you can subtract to undo it. If you multiply, you can divide to undo it. Well, the same holds true for sine, cosine, and tangent. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you think about a right triangle and what we've learned so far with sine, cosine, and tangent, we have angle A, B, C for this right triangle. We have, if I'm looking at angle A, this would be the opposite side. I'm going to say this is 3 units long. This would be the adjacent side to angle A at 4 units long. And this would be the hypotenuse since it's across from the right angle at 5 units long. Okay, so let's say I've got the sine of angle A. I was asked to find sine of angle A. So I'd have sine of A equals, and then in this case, opposite over hypotenuse would be 3 over 5. So sine of A would be 3/5. Okay, well, if I have the sine of A here, and I want to undo this to get A by itself, then I have to do something called the inverse sign on both sides of the equation, because if you do it to one side of the equation, you also have to do it to the other. So what you do is inverse sine looks kind of like sine to the negative first power. So on both sides of the equation, I'm going to do sine to the negative first, or sine inverse. Not really sine to the negative first, but anyway. Okay, so sine inverse of sine of A and sine inverse of 3/5. Okay, so the sine inverse and the sine cancel each other out, and all I'm left with over here is angle A. This sine inverse of 3/5 is something that you can type into the calculator. So on just a regular handheld calculator, it's usually going to be a secondary function. So you have to hit the second button, and then usually it's the button that's the same button as sine. So second sine, and then you would type in 3/5 and hit enter. And it tells me that inverse sine of 3/5 is 36.86989, whole bunch of numbers. So I'm going to round it. 36.87 degrees is what this rounds to. So this tells me the measure of angle A in degrees. Now this is where all of that inverse sine comes from in the triangle. All you're going to be asked to do today is you're going to be told something like cosine of x equals 0.8. And so all you're going to have to do is go cosine inverse on both sides to get that x equals cosine inverse of 0.8. So you would type that into your calculator, cosine inverse of 0.8, and you would get also 36.87. I didn't plan that, by the way. It just kind of happened that cosine of this angle is also 4/5, which is 0.8. So that's kind of a happy accident. All right. Anyway, that's inverse sine, cosine, and tangent in a nutshell. If you have questions, feel free to drop into office hours or send me an email, comment below, any of that. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to go figure out why my dog is barking.